Hello, hello. Oh, baby, thank you. And I beat Frank.
Oh my god!
You beat Frank.
He took a point of mine. Oh my god!
Hit that shit,
Okay,
bitch.
we're recording. So this is the Completely Inappropriate Podcast, everybody. I am Tony along with Mr.
Frank.
And we are here today with a friend of mine, a friend of my family's, a friend of pretty much everybody I know because she is such a sweet person, Alyssa. How are you, Alyssa?
I am doing well.
So we have Alyssa on today because we wanted to address something with someone that we haven't been able to in the past. The school system right now. Alyssa is a teacher. What classes do you teach?
I teach special education.
And you any more details with that?
Well, yeah, I teach kids. I basically teach the self-contained.
Oh, okay.
Special education, the ones that have a little bit more severe disabilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I don't know if you're aware, my son is on the autism spectrum. He's fairly high functioning. It's mostly speech issues, attention issues, but that's pretty much every kid at 7 years old. You know, my sister's also a special education department person, I guess. Not so much anymore, but she's studied it. Anyway, moving on. Frank, how you doing, man? Let's check in real quick before we get this episode started.
Yeah, I'm
How you
taking
been?
this all in. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what's happening.
Yeah, well, we were scared you weren't going to show up, Alyssa, because I didn't get your message till last night that you were feeling ill.
Yeah, so my husband works for ISD. He's, I probably shouldn't say that. Can we cut that out?
Yeah, no problem. I can mute that out.
So he's an athletic trainer, so he works with the district, and of course we've had COVID cases popping up within the athletic departments all over the place. And so they had told him that one of the teams had been quarantined. He may or may not have had interaction with them because he has interactions with everyone. So we didn't know. We're just like, we'll figure it out when it comes. Because honestly, it's come to the point of it's not if now, it's when. So yeah, when we're gonna get it. So we've just been waiting. The one good thing that has happened healthcare wise because of all of this is our TRS system, which is our retirement system. They also provide our healthcare, which is not great, if we're being completely honest.
It never is. No, it never has been, never will be.
So it's terrible. And so my biggest fear with getting COVID was the healthcare cost, because I am not a person who goes to the doctor a whole lot. I'm very terca. If I'm sick, I just take a nap, and I'm convinced that that cures.
Sure. Yeah, you drink a lot of water, make sure you're hydrated, and enjoy your hopefully mom or Thea or somebody has some penicillin.
Planet, obviously.
Oh, you froze there. I missed you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. My internet comes in now. So I was more worried about the cost of COVID as opposed to like getting COVID. But TRS came out and said for the year of 2020 and 2021, we will cover all costs related to COVID.
Now that's amazing. Is that a Texas-based program?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard of that acronym before, or initialism rather.
And so they take care of our retirement because we can't dip into Social Security. That's what we cannot dip into. So it's either we get Social Security or we get our TRS. We already pay into TRS, so we just stick to TRS for the most part.
Right. Well, thank God at least Texas is helping you out as much as it is. Even if it's not much or enough, it's better than some other of these states are having.
I consider it a blessing. It's something I don't really have to worry about unless I end up with like long-term conditions of it. But that was my biggest fear with COVID. The cost, not so much the actual disease. And I was like, how sad. I'm scared of the cost instead of the disease.
Sure, no, I was terrified. I caught COVID back in June, literally the day or two after my birthday. and ended up terrified. I went to work the next day thinking, oh, it's just a I got I thought I had food poisoning because we had sushi for my birthday. So it was just kind of a natural thought. It's just a food thing, food bug. I'll be all right by tomorrow. They said, no, buddy, you got to go get tested. And I tested positive, and then I was on panic mode for 2 weeks. And then I was worried about the finances, and they told me, no, don't worry. They're covering 2 weeks of you being off as long as it's for COVID, because you've tested or somebody in your house has tested positive. They'll cover 2 weeks. I was like, well, that's great. But what if my wife catches it at the end of those 2 weeks? And then I can't come in because I'm interacting with her for the next 2. And then my son gets it. So there's a potential for a 4-week period where I can't earn any money, and I'm not going to be reimbursed for that time. So it was terrifying. Luckily, my wife and son, if they caught it, they were what? Help me out here.
Asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, Lord. We've said these words too much. They've lost all meaning. So tell me, what? I can't even imagine what it's like being a teacher right now, trying to handle it's hard to communicate with you with the little static in between us talking to each other. How does that work when you've got 5 or 6 kids that don't know how to mute their mic?
Well, it's a lot of teaching how to use our different systems.
Okay, I'm all right. I'm cleaning myself off. Sorry, it's a lot of
having to teach the actual system. So I've actually flip-flopped between districts this last year. So I moved from my old district and I moved into a new district. The one cool thing about my old district is we already knew when we got let out the platform we were going to use. And at my old district, I used to lead PDs for professional developments for all of our self-contained teachers. Mm-hmm. And so, I got to really work during that spring break to figure out how to do it. So I am not the most technical savvy person on the face of the planet, but like I worked really hard that entire week to figure out, okay, what can we do with our kids, especially like our more severe kids who won't even know how to turn it on or don't have the physical capability of turning it on.
Right.
The computers, like navigating or anything.
Well, it's not like keyboards. If people have a tactical issue, it's not like keyboards are designed. I mean, these keys are so close together, and if you have somebody with, some physical challenges I can't even imagine the struggle they might have.
It was absolutely nuts, but we figured it out during that 1 week, and we did really well within that one district I was at previously. So I was really proud of it, and of course, I took my knowledge of how to do everything, and I showed it to some of the people that I interact with now. So for the most part, I do well. I don't like it.
Well, for emphasis on the point you're making is, we were starting this, and I've never set up a Zoom meeting before. We've always used Skype for our interviews before. I could not, for the love of me, find the audio button where to adjust where the speaker, where the audio was coming out of. I couldn't, and within 2 seconds, you're like, oh yeah, just that little arrow down there, pick it up, there it is. It's like, I must have looked at that arrow 3 times and never read that the speaker was on there as well as the microphone. It'll just, because I was so panicked about just trying to get, and this wasn't even that severe of an issue to get started. If you got to start class in the next 15 minutes and you have no idea how to hear your teacher, oh man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So yeah, I don't like it. It's not my favorite. I wish we were back completely in person. I know my kids, some kids have thrived, like especially some of the autism kiddos who don't out of the background noises and the transition throughout the day. I have had one of my more severe kids. He's completely nonverbal. He has control of his hands, but cognitively, he doesn't have the ability to really understand what's going on just yet. So he actually he paid more attention to the videos I made for him to watch at home than he ever has to.
Exactly. My son's my son gets, I'm sorry, we're talking.
Sorry.
I'm excited with the things that you're saying because I relate to that so much. I don't often talk to people who understand what it's like for a child with autism, to have a child with autism. And, you know, for the most part, it is a blessing. He's so much easier to deal with than I could have imagined myself at that age, being a little bit more rambunctious. Like he listens more than any other kid I know. Like he's great, right? But you're right. When it comes to focusing and sitting down in one place and listening to somebody, it's almost too much for him after 10 minutes. So the fact that he can get distracted, realize that he got distracted, be like, oh, wait, he can rewind the video and replay the words exactly. I mean, echolalia. Echolalia is a thing for them. So when they can hear you repeat exactly and hear you like, your tonal inflections are exactly the same. It helps it lock it in. And my kid's never had a better grasp on his understanding of the work he's doing than he has with the videos.
Yeah. So it's been like a blessing in disguise and a curse in many other ways. So, but I'm really excited for some of my kids that are doing really well. And I don't think, and it's kind of frustrating. And I understand why we do so many autism awareness things, but I think we need to start getting a little bit deeper into like, okay, you're aware autism exists. Now you need to know what it is. So I actually had a rant. I have a lot of inner rantings that I don't share with people because I don't know anyone besides myself. And plus we're in quarantine. I have like 2 friends. So like
we've got a great outlet here. I have no friends, but we have tons of guests.
Yeah.
They already know my rantings anyway, and so they already agree with me. So like one thing that truly like bothers me to my core is really loud vehicles. Because
oh my gosh,
autism, but others like other students that have or kids that have sensory issues, when all of a sudden you hear that really loud vehicle, it hurts. Like I don't think people understand sensory issues as much as they should. And honestly, it's going to come back down to, because I've had this internal argument within my head of, well, this is America, can do whatever I want. And I think, yes, it's America, you can do whatever you want, but I think we've lost a lot of the empathy to be able to say, like, maybe what I want isn't the best thing. Like, I want $1 million, but I can't, you know what I mean? So
well, it's the same concept. It's the same concept that we're finding arguments in the street for the mask debate. Like, should we not wear a mask? Well, the CDC says no. Who says it's probably not even a good idea for us to? But that's not the point. The point is if you give a shit about Texas doesn't have so much this problem as they do in like California, Arizona, where people are fighting in the streets over masks. For the most part, Texas is a state that believes in community enough to where we may not agree with having to do this stupid shit, but we're gonna abide by it out of respect for your tia, your auntie, your mama, your papa, you know, because we recognize that our elderly matter, our kids with health problems matter. And to say that your pride comes before anybody else's fall, I mean, come on. Disrespectful.
It's actually, like, astonishing to me. I thought of something because I saw it on the internet the other day. Like, Jesus died on the cross for you, but you can't wear a mask. Like, calm down.
Well, that's going to be a whole other podcast.
I think the worst thing that like happens for because I have had to wear a mask for long periods of the day. I can breathe just fine. I didn't knock myself out with my own CO2. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a thing.
You know, that has actually been close to happening to me though. At work, if I'm wearing like a bandana or something, because there's no masks available and it's laundry day, so I haven't washed my good masks. If I'm not wearing a proper one, I find that because I work on my feet and with my hands all day, I get into a rhythm with my breath, but I start to breathe more and more shallow. And because I'm breathing shallow, I'm just breathing a little puff of air into the mask and a puff back in. I do get dizzy and nauseous. But I'll be honest with you, that was happening before the masks because I had an issue before not focusing on my breathing patterns, whether it was because my history with drug abuse or what have you, I developed a weak breathing pattern. And now I do yoga, I work out, I do all these things that have strengthened that. It's not so much, especially after I got COVID. Oh boy. after I got COVID, I felt like I wasn't breathing right that entire time. So as soon as I was off it, I started running harder than I ever did. I wasn't running longer, but I was running faster. I was just trying to build up my cardio again because it was terrifying. So I understand that argument that some people don't want to wear the mask because they have underlying health conditions. If they have asthma, for instance, like I'm terrified for my sister, my older sister who has asthma and has to wear this mask on a constant basis. I have a niece who has heart issues and breathing issues and asthma as well, who's only 3-4 years old. And some people look at her in the store as if this little girl should be made to wear a mask by her mom. I'm like, well, you don't even know her problems. Like, where it comes to be a problem for me, the people not wearing a mask, is when they're not wearing a mask and then they insist on like going and holding hands, walking through the mall together and like bumping shoulders with people. Like, if you're not going to wear the mask, at least abide by staying 6 feet apart, or don't go to these places that are requiring you to wear a mask. Who are you to judge a business for applying rules that they want to abide by?
It's a private entity, so if they decided to put up those rules, you have to abide by them. They also have rights within it of themselves. But yeah, I
Let
think
the market decide, right? I mean, that's what they're always, I mean, the more right-leaning people are always espousing that the businesses come first. They're like, well, then let the businesses make their choice and let the people vote. I mean, vote with your dollars. You don't like that they're not requiring you to wear a mask? Don't shop there. You don't like that they are requiring you to wear a mask? Don't shop there. Simple solutions to life here.
yeah, like we've avoided having to go to the store still. Like I'm completely introverted, so nothing about this has been terribly hard for me. I think I have lived my life to the fullest at this particular time.
I've said it on multiple episodes and to my family that I have survivor's guilt for the entire year of 2020 because while everybody else in the country seems to be suffering, I feel like this has been my most thriving year. Like I've developed, so much this year.
Yeah, I do really great on my own. And so does my husband's very introverted too. So we've had the time of our life. We still, like, I've never liked going out to eat at restaurants. So having to eat here all the time is fantastic. So yeah, like I really sat down and learned how to cook different meals besides the one that I like to make. Still do curbside. I was obsessed with curbside before quarantine was a thing. So
I'm just happy Favor and Instacart and all these delivery services are finally here because I remember hearing them on podcasts or on radio or TV commercials advertising like Pinkberry and stuff in New York and California. I was like, why can't we get stuff delivered? It's 8 o'clock. I just got finished with all this work. I don't want to go out and buy milk. Can I just get sister, bring me milk? It's 8 o'clock. No, like family only goes so far for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I remember when I would go to like San Antonio and stuff, I would use because I am an introverted person. If I went for like a work trip, I'd rather order in and eat inside the hotel room than go eat before the quarantine. I've just always been like that. So I would always like order in from like Uber Eats, and
Nice.
I'd love it.
All right, well, hey, let's get back to the subject at hand. I do have a couple of fun questions I'd like to get to. First off, I am very well aware because I've seen it watching over my son's shoulder that some people don't mute their mics or forget that they have a camera on in their house. What is the craziest thing you've seen, the craziest thing you've heard, or just something that was just a little too awkward for comfort?
No, that really doesn't happen a whole lot with us, and you would think it would. I think more real life stuff in my particular classroom is way more fun than like I'm honestly, I have the best parents on the face of the planet. Like they're really on it. It does work from teachers and parents to really like be on it. But as far as I'm concerned, I really do like I spend a lot of time getting to know my parents and getting to like bond with them because being
Just real quick to clarify, you are talking about the students' parents, not your parents. Yeah, just clarifying.
like I know that they are in it for the long haul, so it's not easy being a special needs parent. I will never understand so far because I do not have children. I won't understand what they're going through. I may get a glimpse of it, but I don't know the whole story. So I have all the respect in the world for any special needs parent and the amazing work that they do with their kids. So like I really want to hone in with, I've always honed in with my parents, like, you're a rock star and I want to help you as much as I possibly can. Because I just want to make their lives in whatever way slightly easier, and try to get their kids to accomplish whatever I possibly can. So I always have had a really good, strong bond with my parents. So nothing weird has really ever happened with me. So I'm like the lamest person to ask this to.
No,
And
that's fine.
we always have so much fun. I think I always have really silly kids. So I always hear fun stories from home. Like I have some like autism kiddos that they get particular routines sometimes, or if there's something that they like to do. So I remember one of them was so his really big thing was singing the Allstate song now from the thing.
My son does
So
that
was
as well.
yeah. So I always get little fun things like that. Licking the floor. I remember that's probably the funniest thing I think I've said out loud. What have I told you? The floors. We don't lick floors. I have said on multiple occasions, Miss Aguilar really doesn't like to get punched, buddy.
Yeah.
So
I can see that one.
yeah, having a self-contained classroom comes with like a lot of just really just fun things you end up saying. So
Well, that's
I think
amazing. It's you know, I know you said that, you know, it may not be fun, your response to those questions, but it's informative to people listening to this to know that, you know, there's a certain extra level of attention that parents with special needs kids tend to provide their kids, and even when they're not capable of doing it, there are amazing teachers out there like you who do take the extra time, the extra care to develop those relationships and make sure that everything is going as smoothly as possible. It's important to share that because it's terrifying. When you have a special needs kid and you are going to a new class with a new teacher, you already have a rapport with that previous grade. It's an amazing teacher there. Now we got to go to this other person. Well, her voice is deeper, or she's too tall, or her hair is too confusing for my son to look at. You know, you never know what the distraction is going to be that year. Is she going to know how to deal with his temperament when he needs to go to the bathroom 5 times in the same hour just because he's having trouble focusing, or he didn't eat enough, or he didn't exercise enough at PE to finally get the fidgeting out? You know, who knows? Who knows?
yeah, it's a lot of.
Granted, it's gonna be that way with any kid, of course. But with kids that aren't special needs, I think it's taken for granted. School is taken for granted as just somewhere to drop your kid off for daycare. Maybe they'll learn something, maybe they won't, but at least you don't have to deal with them for 8 hours or however long it is. With my kid, I know every day I'm worried. I'm waiting for the call and ready to leave work if I have to. I mean, luckily I've never had to. My wife's always been on top of that if ever there was an occasion, but it's never not on your mind when you have a kid with special needs.
And it's a lot of, I think it really does need to be a mentality shift of people. And honestly, I've worked with some really great staff that truly understand that we need to not be so, I guess, I'm trying to remember, it's not authoritarian in our view of things. It shouldn't be the child with special needs having to conform to what we think they need to do. It's more of us being more accepting, understanding, and empathetic to be able to help them feel a little more comfortable. Like one of my bigger beefs is uniforms. Because I had a time where one of my kids was it like, it's a sensory issue for him. He didn't like the feel of that. And so his mom, and I didn't like
Collar.
the fact that I had to enforce it. Like, I didn't like it. Like,
Was it the collar around the neck being too high up?
material too.
Yeah, that's. There's such.
I never understand how much it hurts him because I don't have that sensory issue, but you could tell in his behavior it hurt him.
Yes.
So I don't like that. I think we need to be a lot more empathetic and it's not us caving in and giving in to like chiflados. It's not chifladoness. And I think people really need to understand that. Like, it is something they are experiencing that we do not quite understand as well as he does.
And you know what? Even if it is them being chiflado, them being spoiled with their attitude, you don't know that until you communicate and have the interaction with them to try and either calm them down in a relaxed adult way like you would any other adult. But because they're special needs. Now, this is something I'm actually interested in talking about as well. I feel like a lot of these issues start from childhood, right? The way we raise the kids to act, whatever. I find, honestly, the biggest problem is the way we act as adults and the way that we haven't incorporated now more than ever we're incorporating persons with special needs into the workforce. But that was a long time coming. And I can't say I've seen very many people even working at Walmart as a greeter that has special needs. And that used to be on the commercials all the time. Every Walmart commercial had like a person of Down syndrome in the corner helping somebody out or stocking the shelves. It's always in the commercials. It's a cute idea, but who's actually implementing that? Who's actually going out of their way? Why not go to your local adult care center where these people are, just kind of tossed there because there's nobody to take care of them or they have nothing else to do? And why not scout? You can scout individuals in that manner. I mean, I just think it's this opportunity.
It really is. So we have to remember people with disabilities weren't really able to be, they did not have the ability to go to school because they weren't allowed in school because they were uneducatable up until the 70s.
Yes.
So,
and before that, they were considered almost not fit to exist. It wasn't even 100 years ago. Even today, you hear about places, okay, maybe not, I haven't heard it today. I don't want to exaggerate, but you definitely hear it in the past. There's historical literature on like changelings. Changelings is a thing from Eastern Europe, I think, where they would have children who were born with disabilities, and they would claim that no, their real child was taken away in the middle of the night by changelings, and they switched it out with this demon child. And then the child would literally be treated like a demon or outcast in the culture, in their community. And that is what we're fighting. I mean, it's insane. It's insane that fear can instill something like that.
Yeah, some people today still believe that it was someone sinned in your family and that is why you have a child with disabilities. And obviously that's not true. So the advancements in special education, and this is the really frustrating part, especially in Texas. You as a parent really need to fight for quality education for your kid, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be quality education is the expectation.
Now, let me tell you something, though. Let me tell you something. I come from, we both went to the same school system. I don't know if we graduated from the same, but we went to the same school system.
I left on purpose.
I did too, but not for any good reasons. But my point being, we struggled for a good education here. But that's because of a minority issue. We're a Hispanic population there was maybe one or two white families, no black families in the entire school when I was growing up until damn near high school. And there was no gentrification either. Nobody was trying to make us a white culture. If they were, they might have educated us better. Now we're kind of getting to that point where things are getting more homogenized, which is unfortunate on one end, but at least it's coming with a slightly better education than was provided before. So, you're it's everything's a pendulum swing. You're never gonna have it great on all sides. You kind of unfortunately just got to take what you can get. And here we are.
I think that's where we need to fight it, because honestly, quality education should be a right for every single child. It shouldn't be that I have to live in a certain neighborhood to get quality education. I know when I was growing up, I went to elementary school in Harlingen ISD. I had a fan-flippin-tastic education there. I
Yes.
loved my elementary school there. My teachers really went out of their way to make sure that we all learned. When I went to Mercedes, the quality education was much, much less. I was multiplying, dividing decimals and fractions when I left Harlingen. When I came to Mercedes, they were barely learning to multiply whole numbers in 6th grade. And
you were lucky if you were in an AP class.
like, I just got there and I was a star student. It was whatever. But I knew I was not getting a good education. So I told my dad, hey, I want better classes. The classes are too low. So my dad actually went to the school to talk to them, and Mercedes refused to move me up. And I personally didn't like it as well because I was bullied. I was short, small, not cool, nerdy. I've always been a huge weirdo, so I didn't like Mercedes.
Yeah.
I thought it was the worst. I did have some really good educators. I know there was in middle school, I had a fantastic English teacher, and she actually introduced me to like one of my favorite books, Wuthering Heights. And I continue I reread that book. I'm a huge weirdo. I find something I like and I reread it.
Sure.
So in middle school, I was reading Wuthering Heights because she introduced us to a passage, and that was great. But
I used to get so bored in class. This is how bad school was for me. I had AB honor roll all the way up until junior high, and I never did homework. My parents would get called in all the time because I never turned in a lick of homework. So they would just give me extra schoolwork to do. And the schoolwork was so easy for me that I'd get ace that, and they'd just give me a low B or a high C and call it passing, even though I didn't do a lick of homework. I don't think I ever did homework any year from like 5th grade to graduation.
Yeah, the closest thing I did to homework.
Oh, hey, Frank. Oh, my God. Hey, guys, Frank is here. I mean, we're at the end of the podcast now, but let's check in with Frank. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, I'm like, for some reason. But no, the closest thing I ever got to doing homework was fucking copying the fucking math homework of all things.
Watch your language. We have a lady present today.
Okay.
It's not just me and you.
What happened? Yeah, because I wouldn't do it, and I'd wake up and anyways. So yeah, I just wouldn't do it.
Okay, well, that makes me a little more comfortable that at least it wasn't just this town. It was a valley-wide problem.
Yeah.
not really a valley-wide problem. I ended up going to Med High.
That's magnet school, an amazing magnet school.
So I honestly, the academics there were much better than anyone.
So jealous. My little sister started going there, and it was like, it was the first time I had really heard about it, and I was like, well, I want to go. That's exciting. I get more attention. The school actually teaches you something. They've got
It prepared me for my master's degree. Like, honestly, getting my undergrad was a joke. Like, I just showed up to class and I got an A, essentially. Like, it was super easy.
Right, but real quick, so I could finish that thought real quick. So I wanted to go, but apparently if you didn't get in by 5th or 6th grade, it was too late for you. So it didn't matter if you knew that it was a better fit for you. If you knew that was going to provide you the education that you needed, you were not allowed to go. I was not allowed to even apply because I had aged out of it at 16 or whatever the hell I was. Like that is an unfair system. There shouldn't be that stipulation because I'm 1 year older. Well, why can't I test to see if I'm on par with the people in that grade anyway? If I'm on par, then I should just be able to transfer right on over, shouldn't I? But that wasn't an option that was given to me. So, and it's not like those magnet schools are widely advertised. You see them on the TV now and then, but especially now, who's watching national television? We're all on computers watching YouTube and Netflix and all that. So it's not just a problem. You're right. It's not a valley-wide problem or just a Texas problem or whatever. There are schools that are available if you want them, but you have to know about them. Just like voter laws. If you don't know about the voter laws, how are you supposed to abide by them? So, hey, Alyssa, this has been a lot of fun. Franco, I do want to give you one chance. Do you have any questions that you want to ask about the education system right now, what she might be going through?
I think you covered everything.
Yeah, I think this was a lot of fun and super, super much more educational than I expected this little education podcast to be. I've got to say thank you so much, Alyssa, for giving us your time. I hope, I know you said you've got plenty of rants in you. I hope we can get you back on for a couple more.
Sounds like fun.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and end things here. Remember, everybody, you can find us at completelyinappropriatepodcast@gmail.com for any comments, questions, concerns. I know this one wasn't quite as inappropriate as usual, but, you know, sometimes you just got to have a proper conversation with proper people once in a while. We can't all just be cagapalos. So, love you guys. Find us at CI Podcast on Instagram, completely in-app with 1P on Twitter, BitChute, YouTube, wherever you find us, we'll be there, obviously. So, Frank, what do we tell the people?
Be excellent to each other.
Find you're happy, try to be better today than you were yesterday. Much love. Bye, Lisa.